Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Triforce podcast.
Podcast, yes.
Podcast.
Hello.
So it's sweltering hot.
Yep.
Here in the UK.
I just want to do my annual reminder that, my air conditioning slash heating unit was quite expensive, but it's still the best thing I've ever bought in my whole life because it's 30 degrees out there today, and it'll be 19 degrees in my fun little ice box that I'm going to sit in pretty much all day until the sun starts setting later on, and then I'll go to the beach. Not bad, eh?
Wow.
And can I ask, is it only the, dare I say it, the studio from which you work that is cooled, and the rest of the house is just left to their fate?
Well, the rest of the house is, it stays pretty cool.
Right.
It's not too bad because if we just keep the windows open and we keep the blinds sort of, angled
closed,
so that the sun isn't just roasting the inside of the house.
Yeah.
It stays pretty cool. It's big enough. It's airy enough. It's not like a little sweat box.
So we got these things that go over the windows. I've definitely spoken about this before because we've got those.
Are they like metal things
windows?
like in France? Like,
no,
they have like those shutters?
No, I don't know why we never got round to that. I presume it's because it's routinely very hot over in France and Italy,
whereas
over here it's not a thing. But but I've always thought those shutters are a fantastic idea for security reasons and for reasons of keeping cold out and heat out and cold out and heat in and whatever. Either way, for the dormers, we've got these. It's like it's hard to describe, but the way a dormer window works, for anyone that doesn't know, is that it pivots on its sort of axis, the central axis of the window. So you open it at the top, and when you pull the window down, it pivots at that middle point. Imagine that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So you can get this screen that attaches from the window frame to the far end of your dormer window. You'd have to screw these bits in. And it's like a sort of, those protectors you put in windows when little kids are in a car, so that when they're in the car, the sun doesn't just beat down on your baby.
They're like a
mesh thing. Yeah, it's like a mesh thing. So that thing we've got on all the windows in the loft, and it means that you can have the blinds open and the heat gets repelled by the mesh because. Honestly, that to me, whenever people complain their house is hot, and I say you've got every window open, every curtain wide open, all that hot air is just coming in, and the sunlight is just cooking your house from the inside out. So keep it.
You got to keep it cool. The in here though, if I'm in here all day and I didn't have this, it would be like an oven. Like I remember when I first started working in here, and it wasn't even finished, and I thought, oh. You know what? It'll probably be pretty cool in here. And then summer hit, close the windows and stuff because, you're recording. I don't want to bug people that are, outside, or I don't want if my kids are playing outside for them to get picked up like on the mic or whatever. So close everything. And within about 5 minutes.
I thought it would be the way you don't want to get hurt, just yelling at the top of your lungs.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'm getting really zesty out here, I'm playing Overwatch or something, and I'm effing and jeffing my head off.
You don't want the whole of Jersey to hear your salty rant.
No.
I feel like there's like a few days a year when it gets unbearably hot and everyone has their fans on, and we just almost have to suspend recording.
Yeah, this is those. It's going to be like 30 today, apparently, and tomorrow.
Yeah. It's just too hot. It's inevitable. Yeah. And do you know what? I love it.
Yeah, it is nice. Yeah. Really, it loosens things up, your schedules and everything are different because you tend to sort of hunker down during the day, try to stay cool, and then at night when it's starting to cool down, there's a bit of breeze or whatever that you go out. So I kind of like that. It's just a break from the routine. Just go out.
It is funny, eat
some chips or something. It's nice.
Night at 9 o'clock, and it was perfectly nice. But you just think about what that's like in winter. When it gets dark at 4:30.
Well, like when we went to go see Ghostface, we were walking through that park, and it was pitch black, and it was 5 o'clock in the evening, and it was wet and miserable and freezing cold.
And we were all stood in that warehouse in full jackets. And coats,
full winter coats, everything, and it was still cold. It was it was pretty.
And we were out of there by 7:30, and it just felt like it was 1 a.m.
Yeah,
I know.
I know.
It's crazy.
Hey, speaking of going to see, I went to see Chaka Khan last night.
Yeah, I remember you saying that you were going to see her.
Yeah.
Was it amazing?
No. I'll tell you why. First, it was at Hampton Court Palace, which is one of the most beautiful venues I've ever been to. It's inside one of the courtyards of some part of the palace, and they've constructed this sort of seating arrangement in this what was once a huge garden, I'm sure. The sort of regular seating down the front, and then at the back there's a covered section with kind of stadium style seating. Perfectly comfortable, all the rest of it. Nice staging, sound quality was great. Chaka Khan can absolutely still sing; she's fantastic, but.
Isn't she like 75 years old?
She's 72. Oh, 72. Right. Her voice is still absolutely incredible. She's brilliant.
Did they do that one, Chaka Khan, with the harmonica and
all
stuff?
All of that. However,
nice.
We'd left by then. We were there for about an hour and 10. And to be honest with you, I really like those Chaka Khan songs.
Yeah.
But I realized as we were there that we don't really like most Chaka Khan songs. We only like 2 or 3 because a lot of it is just, it's pretty samey. It's fine. It's not offensive or anything. It's just like, I would never listen to this by choice. It's just one of her sort of less well-known songs. Her peak, her really good stuff was what Chaka I really Khan. Wanted. I didn't get it. And I was just, this is the other thing. It was outside. So it was getting pretty fucking hot. And most of the audience were middle-aged in size and in heat. So as Mrs. F put it, most of the women there were menopausal. So she said they were just putting off heat like radiators. So it was just literally sitting amongst all these sweaty, hot, middle-aged fat people like us. I mean, you knew what kind of gig it was because at the start of it, the gates open at 5:30. Chaka's on at 9. So you've got all this time to chill in the grounds of Hampton Court Palace, which is stunning. And you could just sit in the garden. People were having these lovely picnics, drinking bubbly, all the rest of it. Fantastic. But you knew it was going to be a certain age group when they said, everybody please take your seats. And everybody takes like a minute to get up off the ground. And everyone's sort of like going, trying to get up. So it was really...
was there a lot of clap-alongs as well?
No, there was no clapping, but there were a lot of people my age and up.
Sitting down clap-alongs.
They were just dancing.
That is like a big fixture at middle-aged
Oh God, I hate the
musical things.
No, it was just everybody was dancing and a couple of people were singing along, but
right.
it was enough. I was nice to see her. She's an icon. But I was like, geez, getting out of here is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be like getting an Uber home.
I guess
you've
been there since like 6 or something as well, had you?
Yeah, we've been there a couple of hours. So I was just like, you know what? It was just a nice evening out with Mrs. F, and she was not into it massively. She was very sweet of her to just come along with me.
Whose idea was it to go?
Mine. It was fully mine. I booked it like 2 weeks ago. Right. And when I told her, she was like, "Oh, nice," and I was like, "Ah, shit." I thought she'd be like, "Oh my God," but she sort of like semi likes a few of her songs, but I realized that I also only know like a couple of her songs. So it was quite boring, unfortunately. But she was incredible. She was like, if you were a big Chaka Khan fan, great gig.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought that like, I think like when you said Chaka Khan, I was like, wow, God, Chaka Khan, that would be amazing. But now that you mention it,
yeah,
I don't really know much about it. For one, I didn't know she was American. Not that it matters, but I didn't.
You thought she was
know
Canadian?
That. No, I just didn't really think about it at all, which maybe is the worst possible
Her real name's Jean-Marie Tupperware.
Jean-Marie Tupperware. But also, I think I only know like one song, and it's that one that the one that I sung earlier, the Chaka Khan one. The Chaka Khan.
Chaka Khan.
Do you do this kind of thing Chaka often, P-Flex? Like book little trips, dates for you and your wife?
We'll do stuff like that.
Very healthy.
I mean, especially the general thing is that now we're at an age where we left the kids alone and it was fine because they're 16 and 13. So it's like, previously it was like, oh, who's going to look after the kids and how long are we going to be and where we're going to go?
Yeah.
So now it's like they're old enough. If you think about it, for anyone questioning that, if we hired a babysitter, how old do you think the babysitter would be? They'd be 16. So we've had babysitters who were like 13, 14 looking after 2 kids while we popped all the way into town. So
it's crazy. Yeah.
It's 16 and 13. Think back to when you were that age. I absolutely, my mum worked nights and it was just me looking after my
I used to babysit my neighbors when I was around that age. And at the time I was like, yeah, this is fine. I'd fall asleep like on their couch. Like I'd have to like put their kids to bed and everything. I'd fall asleep on their couch watching like Tom Green or something.
Right.
I get woken up. They'd come home and wake me up and be like, oh, okay, it's time to go. I got paid like $5 for like a like a 13-hour babysitting job. It was but they left money so that we could order pizza and I was allowed to just eat all their food and stuff. But one time I ate quite a bit of their food, to be fair. But they said I could. And they complained. They phoned my mom and they're like, yeah, he ate way too much food. I was like, come on, man. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's crazy to think back. I was only like 13 or 14 years old. And it's quite, man, I would never leave my kids with a 13 or 14-year-old now. Like there's no possible way that would happen.
No, because we knew what we did as babysitters. Like I remember I would have been about 13 and I babysat a couple of lads that were younger than me, and we made swords out of rolled up newspaper. They had loads of old newspapers in the house. And we made these long swords and we would just whack at each other with newspapers for hours, and the kids were sweaty and then they wouldn't go to bed because they were like super hyped up. Parents came home, they're like, oh, you're still up. And there was newspaper everywhere, like little bits of newspaper. And we were like, oh, well, we'll tidy up. And they were like, don't worry, we had a great time. It's cool. And I was like, man, if this was if I did this regularly, they'd be like, look, Ted, could you not smash the newspapers everywhere? And oh, sorry, I've got to feed the pigeons. Sorry,
it feels like more work than it's worth, really. You get back and a 13-year-old has been rolling up newspapers and smashing them everywhere and stuff. You just think, why did we bother going out? Just stay home and not have to deal with all of this extra stuff that's happened or whatever. But
I love that you live in this seed feeding world. And how often do they come by?
3 times a day.
Wow, like clockwork, or is it more just?
Well, they do a flyby of the window to see if I'm in here. If the curtain's drawn, they'll sit on the windowsill and they'll go woo, woo, till I open the curtain. When I open the curtain, they fly off and they watch me from the roof opposite. Because I mean, even though we've got a good relationship, I'm clearly a predator, maybe the apex predator of this room. Right. To them, they're like natural prey of this whole room. I'm the apex predator.
Wow,
you're like a little area boss.
Quite a claim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, all right, he does feed us. We
you're
don't
like
really
the
know
sandworm
why,
of that
exactly.
room. Yeah. I've been playing a lot of Dune recently, by the way. Sorry for
you could turn at any time.
I could. Yeah. So in their mind, they're like, he could be playing a very long con here, and one day, because he's got predator instincts, he'll just snap and eat us. So they're very cautious, but they know how to communicate with me. Sometimes Mr. Pidgey jumps in the window and tap dances on my bin because it's got a metal lid, and that really gets my attention. But yeah, they know when the seeds are coming because they see me get the seed bag out. And once they see the bag, they're like, well, he's going to put the seed out. They wait on the other roof, and once it's out, they fly over and stuff their faces.
I went to, speaking of like gigs and going out and stuff, I'll just give you some context for this one as well, because it's a little bit, it's not embarrassing, but it's kind of weird. But my youngest is pretty much toilet trained, but at that crucial moment in toilet training where there's still accidents. So it's tough for us to like leave the kids with like my mother-in-law for too long sort of thing, because she's not really able to deal with, any accidents or whatever. I mean, she can, but it's like, it's not ideal, right? So we're not really able to go out anywhere or do anything for like a length of time where, we might be just leaving like a big shit fiesta at home, or, like piss everywhere or something. So, but recently we went to a day disco, which is good. It's like a nightclub, but they open it at like 2 p.m. and it closes at like 8, and then they tidy up a bit and then they open it again later for like, the real party animals. But it's meant for like, older people who don't necessarily want to like join like the nightly meat market of a club sort of thing.
Sure.
And it's like themed around whatever, So like this one that we went with like some of our friends, and it was themed around 80s and 90s music. So it was great. It was like every song that was played, we knew. We were drinking and stuff. And we don't often do this. But the big one was that the guest DJ in Jersey, this is in Jersey, was Dave, the drummer from Blur. And my wife's a huge Blur fan. So, so she got to meet Dave. Yeah, he was really nice. We're just like, Dave, can we just get a picture with you or something? He's like, yeah, of course. We like had a chat with him for a bit and stuff. It was really cool. So there you go. We got to meet Dave at a day disco for old people. Dave's old too. Think He's like in his 60s or maybe late 50s. I don't know.
Yeah, all these they're all old as fuck, these bands, you know.
But he was playing he was playing Oasis songs. He played like Smells Like Teen Spirit. He was playing Snoop Dogg. Like, oh my God, it was unbelievable. It was just like my Spotify playlist, but I got to listen to it not in my garage with other people. It was wonderful.
Is it air-conned in there?
Yeah, it was perfectly air-conned in there, yeah.
It sounds like, I mean, I can't believe the Hamptons Court Garden was so un-air-conned. Do you know what I mean? Obviously outside. It's hot day. But like, I know, but like in a sense, like exactly, it's outside, but yet the menopausal, like the radiators.
When Mrs. F said that, I was like, oh shit, that's right. Just like when we went to a gig, this was, I think it was either the very start of this year or the very end of last, I went to see, fuck me, hold on a sec. Let me find out for you.
Fuck me, hold on a sec. I'm just looking them up.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good.
Can't find any hits. I can't find them.
Look, check out their early stuff, though. That's the best stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
Katie J. Pearson. Sorry, Katie.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're a massive fan of the Triforce. I went to see her, and she's a solo artist. And so then because she's a woman, a lot of the audience were women. And I was like, man, it smells lovely in here. I talked about this on the podcast at the time. And it was literally, Mrs. F was like, well, yeah, there's loads of women there, so that's all their perfume. I was like, oh, yeah. So it's one of those things, like, I didn't even think of the fact that menopausal women would act more like tiny radiators, but apparently they do. So
we should spread them out and use them to, like, you know, heat up the old folks. There's that great clip, isn't there? It makes the rounds every now and then of Reddit of that black lady, like a stand in like a baseball game or something, when she's got like coils of smoke, like water vapor, like going around her head. She looks like she's like on fire. It's amazing. Jesus. They're both like giggling away at it.
So here's something my youngest the other day. I like to have conversations where I'm sort of winding them up. Right. You know, like dads do. You got to tease your kids a bit.
Yeah,
but sometimes
a little bit, yeah.
Sometimes it goes wrong, and I always think they're going to say one thing, but sometimes because kids don't give a fuck, they'll be brutally honest. So I was joking about, you know, we were talking about how Mrs. F was on her way home from work and blah, blah, blah. And there was a couple of chores we hadn't done around the house yet. And I was like, oh, shit, we should do that before Mrs. F gets back. And my youngest was like, oh, she won't mind. I said, oh, well, you don't know, love. I said, Mama is far too good for me. I'm hanging on by a thread. I've got to keep her happy. And she was like, yeah. This is what my youngest said. She goes, well, yeah, she is too good for you, but you're a good dad and a good husband. I was like, what do you mean she's too good for me? You're meant to back me up here and say something nice. But she was like, no. She was like, I can't lie. Mama's far too good for you. I was like, damn. Thanks, kid. And
you get no respect, eh? You do everything for them, and then they just turn around. They're like, I like this person better than you.
I know. I'm like, damn, that is brutal.
Yeah, that's fine.
You've got to be careful sometimes doing these like joke criticisms of yourself, because I've had that happen a few times. They've just nodded and agreed with me, like I was serious. But I think it's a lot of things, right? Sometimes they're not listening. I think like the human dynamics of like interacting with other people is always fascinating to me, because like on this podcast, we don't listen to each other sometimes. No. We're just in our own world. You know, you've had a thought about Chaka Khan and you're like, oh yeah, you know, and then you like go off like down a little rabbit hole and you're like, oh, maybe I should take my partner to go and see a Chaka Khan or something, you know, and I haven't done a date for a while. I wonder what's on. And then you like, you know, you start, and then by that time, you two have said like 10 minutes of chat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no.
I'm so trained to not listen now though, because like I can't even in my house, like we cannot even have a conversation, like even about something important. Like, you know, like we need a 2-second conversation just to decide what's happening in the morning, for example, like logistically, you know, somebody needs to take somebody somewhere or whatever. You're trying to have this conversation, and then everybody in the house just decides that's the best time to either melt down or ask really deep, meaningful questions about, like, you know, what the meaning of life is or whatever. And it's just like, man, I can't even. But it trains you in the end to just almost like zone out completely and not listen to anything anyone is saying.
I love that you have that 3 different ages where you have one person who's learning to poo.
Yeah.
Like one person who's wants to know how to do this thing in Minecraft.
Yeah.
And one person who wants to know, is having like an existential crisis about the nature of reality.
We'll start a conversation and then we'll immediately be interrupted with, can I get this game that's not appropriate for me, or watch this movie that's not appropriate for me? And this will be going on the whole time. And we're like, no, trying to have a conversation. Then the middle one will pipe up and be like, I have a question. And it'll be like, why is water wet or something, like that middle kid, going through the philosophical era. And then our youngest one will just be repeatedly and very loudly barking like a dog, but reminding you that she's barking like, so she'll be like, woof, woof, I'm barking like a dog. Woof, 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 I'm barking like a dog. Like, yeah, I can fucking hear you barking like a dog. You don't need to point out that you're barking like a dog. I wish you just weren't barking like a dog. I'm trying to say something. And that's it. That's
it's
how
hard
it
to
goes
know
every time.
Which one to tack onto, because sometimes you just want to get down on your knees and also bark like a dog,
Yeah. Well, oftentimes we'll tack on to the eldest, because that's always the more almost pressing one, because
you're hoping that
he'll be angling into something,
and he'll explain the nature of water to
Well, and then sometimes
the middle one will,
if he's wanting to be heard, he'll just be telling the other ones to shut up as well. Like, he has no filter because he's at that age. So he'd be like, oh, shut up. Oh my God. Oh, shut up. Oh my God. Oh. He's trying to tell us about, his friend, or he wants to go somewhere with his friend or something. So it's just chaos. It just completely immediately descends into chaos. It's great sometimes, and other times, man, it's like so deflating. You're just like, oh God, I can't even just say one thing. So sometimes it's just a lot of stuff will just go unsaid, but luckily we can just sort of pick up each other's, signs or whatever, like, oh yeah, no, I need to go do this now, or I need, oh yeah, I've just remembered I have to do this. So it's chaos, but it somehow works,
Yeah. Oh man.
3 is not the magic number. I think two was the magic number. 2 was fine. 3 is just insane.
I will say, I think it's going to be very nice for you in later years, though, having more, because if those 3 all go off to have families of their own, although that is a lot of work and stuff, I love the idea of having a big family get together, all the grandkids and everything. It would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So I'm probably in a position where only one of my kids is going to be having children, and has spoken about it. My eldest despises children. And I was like, you're still a child. They're like, no, can't stand them. And I was like, I used to think like that. But like my friend, a good friend of mine, Ken, he said, we were talking about this because he was getting towards 40 at the time. And I said, are you ever going to have kids? And he was like, nah. And I said, oh, you might change your mind when you get older. He was like, no, I won't. I was like, oh, you might. I did. And he was like, okay. And then he waited a few hours. And then subsequently, when I mentioned my kids, he says, do you regret having kids? I was like, no. He goes, you might change your mind. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But you can't really just tell people that they might change their mind. You just got to accept their opinions.
Yeah, so, you got to assume that people know roughly what they're doing.
Right.
I've got plenty of friends that don't have kids, and I don't think they regret it at all. I think they're just, fine doing what they do or whatever. I
don't know anyone that regrets it.
I feel like I wasn't like, I think my wife wanted children more than I did at the time, but I was like open to it. I wasn't like dead against it. You hear about some people who are like, oh, I will never have them. And they'll really go to lengths to like stop it from happening or whatever. I was always like, yeah, no, like I get, I kind of want to have kids, sort of thing. But now that we've had them, obviously, I just think, I don't know what I'd do without them. I don't know how my life would be without them, sort of thing. I don't think I'd enjoy my life without them, kind of thing. But yeah, I think people that don't have them, and know that they don't want to have them and are just doing the stuff that they know they want to do, I think that's good too. I think you should. Huh. The worst is when people have kids, they know they don't want them, and then they don't want them when they've had them. I think that's got to be the worst, right? It must just feel like shit all the time.
Oh my God, but it happens all the time.
It does happen a lot, yeah.
You've been very quiet, Lulu. What are you up to?
Nothing. Why? What quiet in terms of volume, or quiet in terms of getting involved in the conversation?
No, No, you're just quiet. I'm just wondering if something's happened. If you're busy.
No. I'm just.
Well, how's your week?
He's reeling from Susanna Reid going off on Robert Jenrick on the news the other day.
What happened to Susanna Reid? And who's Robert Jenrick?
Robert Jenrick is that he's the Lord Chancellor, Shadow Chancellor, or whatever. He's that conservative guy. But he was on TV doing that fare dodgers, like people not paying their fare on the tube. No. But he was doing that, like he was running up to them and he's like, what makes you think that you're allowed to just not pay? Like confronting them. So he goes up to this guy and confronts him. And the guy's like, I'm going to fucking stab you. Get out of my face.
Oh my God.
And he's like, whoa, okay. Like, sorry. And then like moved on. And Susanna Reid was interviewing him after the fact. And he was like, he was all chuffed because he was like, yeah, I was really running them down and like, getting right in their face and asking them what makes them think they have the right to not pay their fare and everything. And she's like, did you report the guy with the knife? And he's like, no. And she's like, why not? There's people on the tube. You knew he had a knife and you didn't report it to the police or anything. Like there's children on there and everything. She was like really pissed off. And he was just like, like started stumbling. And she's like, you've just made this all about yourself. Like, you just don't care. This is just a big publicity thing for you and just you. And he was like, no, like trying to backtrack and everything. It was amazing. I'll see if I can find the clip. It was so good. It was really good.
Damn.
Yeah.
But so is the implication that it was all made up? Because why is an MP going around doing YouTube style fucking pop voxes? What's going on?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's just,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's just a
publicity thing.
Yeah, but they're meant to be. Don't fucking tell me we're going to have prankster YouTube style MPs. What is happening? Get off the internet. I don't want you on the internet at all. I want you just digging away, being very boring and doing some kind of trudging bureaucracy and making things better. I don't want you deciding that you need to have a fucking personality online. Fuck off.
Yeah, it's like the big thing now, though. They all want to do stuff like this. It never seems to work either, but this is fine. I think I saw the clip on Have I Got News for You, but I'll if you want to watch it, I'll post it.
Before we continue, using the internet without ExpressVPN is like taking a call on a bus on speaker. Do you really want the whole train to know about your deepest, darkest secrets? Because all of your traffic flows through the servers of your ISP, they know every single website you visit. ExpressVPN routes 100% of your traffic through secure encrypted servers, so your ISP cannot see your browsing history. It hides your IP address, it's easy to use, it works on all devices, so you can just fire up the app, click one button, and get protected, and it's rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. I use it, we all use it when we're browsing, and we like to keep what we're doing secret and safe. So I do use ExpressVPN, actually. I recommend it, and I would recommend you do too. So protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/Triforce. That's expressvpn.com/Triforce to find out how you can get up to 4 months extra for free. expressvpn.com/Triforce. This is weird. It's weird that you mentioned this show. I'm not sure it's the same show, but I saw a clip that had a friend of mine in it who's a revenue protection guy who works on the railway, and he was sort of confronting this kid who had kept buying child tickets even though he was 18, and he'd got away with it multiple times. I know, it's interesting stuff. Like I saw, a friend of mine was doing some work with like local sort of groups and like farming groups and stuff, and one group of these people have got this sort of city farm set up for they don't call them kids or children, they're called young people, very importantly, and they sort of, the young people make all the decisions on this farm, about what they're going to do, and they have to feed the animals themselves and figure out what they're doing every day. Anyway, they're very like, the idea is it's like empowering for young people. It's very hard to talk about them as not children, because they are, but the whole point is to like give them their own space and build up independence and all this stuff, right? And it's all very well-meaning and quite hippie, I think, from what they were telling me. And so one of the things that was happening was they were asked to build like a kind of community garden and project there. And so they thought what they would do is they'd get the kids involved and ask the kids, young people, what they want from it. And so they got all them all together, and they had this round table discussion. And the young people just want Minecraft. That's it. That's it. They're like, yeah, Minecraft. And so, the team were a little bit, because they're not really into like gaming, and they don't, it's not really their thing. And so they weren't really sure what that meant. And I think, like, for me, that would be like, oh, great. I reckon you could probably figure out a way to make a little Minecraft style garden, right? You get some wooden cubes, to sit on, and you get some like, grid based pattern. It's very American, right? Building a, very organized. You could easily have some design that would make that quite interesting, right? And quite easy. But I think it was, for them, it was like something that they were almost like surprised, because they felt like these kids were almost not homeschooled necessarily, but certainly supposed to be in this environment where they were protected from that, and so not influenced so much by the outside world. I think the whole point of this independence is to get kids to think. I think that to me the whole thing read like the idea of this place was for kids to discover stuff on their own, but to an extreme. And I said, like, it sounds like, they're supposed to rediscover maths. It's like Lord of the Flies style, like, it's like what you do have to give young people some guidance, or else they are just going to do nothing, or it's inevitable that they are full of the influences of the modern world, like Minecraft anyway, right? You can't somehow keep these young people pure so that they will make these pure decisions, right? Like you always have to warn them against all the problems, or else they're just going to be vaping it up and, stabbing one another.
Yeah.
Will they be stabbing one another and vaping? Though? Hell yeah. That's what there's always, every time somebody says something like this, it's always like, the worst possible scenario, which it doesn't apply to like 99% of the population.
You can't just have a load of unsupervised young people. Like,
they'll get bored enough.
We knew what it was like.
They'll get bored enough, and they won't just stab each other. They'll find something to do. It wasn't as innocent as the newspaper fights. There were always people in our class having like, smoking behind the bike sheds and then, having sex with each other. It was, that's what it was like when we were at school anyway. Yeah. I mean, and I think I think it was, like you said, the childminders were younger, but also we would go off on school trips and there'd be like one teacher with, 40 kids, camping. There was always one guy, one girl sneaking off together and like, all this stuff. And I guess it still happens. It must have happened today, but it's like, you can't trust kids to like behave properly if you just, now they sneak off to vape and cyber on their phones.
Stop cybering in there.
Anyway, I am, I'm positive. I think the general way these things work is actually very positive. But I think we are like Duke of Edinburgh and these things, they do build.
It was a disaster for my eldest. An absolute disaster.
They're helpful, right? It's you. What do you mean disaster?
I mean, it was an absolute.
Is that the big hike?
Made you the man you are today?
Is that like the camp that they go? It's like a boot camp for young people, and they do a massive hike.
It's not. It is. It's a bunch of things, but one of the things is indeed a big walk. Now, the problem I had was that the person running it at my eldest's school seemingly wasn't an evil bitch.
I see.
I'm pretty sure I spoke about this at the time. I don't know if I did, that it was the hottest day of the year.
Oh, yes.
Does that ring a
bell?
bell?
It would have been like 3 years about
ago.
This. Yeah. When you live in an air-conditioned office all the time, you don't go outside the whole year, and you have to organise Duke of Edinburgh, because a lot of these people aren't actually outdoorsy people at all, and yet the Duke of Edinburgh, you have to do this incredibly exhausting hike that no one prepares for at all.
Well, I mean, the main thing is that a hike in that heat, I'm always thinking, it's going to be one of those BBC articles, school regrets sending moron teacher to look after 20 fucking kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, your kid is going to be one of the ones that disappeared down a crevasse or something. That's what I'm always worried about.
Yeah.
But the thing here was, it wasn't like, oh, this is dangerous. It was just, what a shit lack of planning. For example, we got there and I said, is my kid going to have to carry this huge rucksack in this heat? And the organizer was like, oh, yeah. And I said, it's like 35 degrees. Are you sure that this is like okay? They're going to have to lug it. It's really heavy. And she was like, yeah, that's part of it. I said, but this list. Oh no, the lady said to me, that's right. She said, well, maybe you should have packed less stuff because the bag was heavy.
But there's a list that they give you of all the stuff they have to have.
Yeah, I said, you gave us a list and we put everything on the list. Yeah. And she just laughed. And I wanted to throttle her.
Those lists are a joke anyway, because they're just there for them to be able to turn around and say, well, you didn't pack what was on the list because you missed like one thing. And that's their escape from every possible thing that could happen or any sort of criticisms you could have of it. Well, you didn't pack the Funyuns. So what do you expect?
So I think that the main reason what you were meant to do was coordinate with the other kids in your sort of troop, if you like, and say, I'll bring the this, you bring the that. But there's no mention of that on the sheet. It doesn't say talk to the other 3 people you're going to be in a group with and make sure that you don't have to carry everything. It was just assumed that they'd figure that out or something. And the thing is, when you have a kid who's neurodivergent, they're talking to other people that they don't really know for them. It's like, it's really challenging. So to just dump it and say, well, it's the hottest day of the year, you're carrying way too much stuff, off you go. And when I went to pick him up, I was like, this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And we were just angry about it all the way home.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We've had a couple of things like that. Not as bad as that, but certainly I hate when they plan stuff, but it's like, oh, we planned this whole thing. And then you get to the end of it and you're like, I've done all the fucking work. Yeah. Like, you have not provided a single thing. You've planned this whole thing. Nobody wants to do it. You haven't been at all generous in providing anything. It's just been somebody sat in an office and typed up a Word document of all of these fucking pain in the ass things that I now have to do that you will not do. Like, you expect them to turn up. You won't even give them a fucking bottle of water. It's
mad.
It is madness. But we've had some good ones. Equally, we've had some pretty good ones that were really well planned and we didn't have to do anything.
Nice.
Those are the best ones, but they're few and far between for sure. A lot of it is just like they send you the forms and everything, and you're just like, why the fuck am I signing my kids up for this? Like, it'd be easier if they were just at home and I organized something. You know what I mean? Like, this is more work than that. And they're meant to be out and taken care of, looked after all day, pretty much. Like, they have all these things in place for safeguarding and all this and stuff. It's like, great. Can you just give them some water? Oh no, we can't give them water. Well, what the fuck? Like, it's so stupid. Like, some of it is so fucking stupid.
It's on the other end, it's got to be tough being these people who are relatively underpaid for what they do and have to deal with every day, and a huge amount of overtime, and like, dealing with so many different things. I mean, it's such a massively complicated thing being a role model and an educator to in so many different ways, right? You're dealing with kids across the age groups and like different personalities, and also like all the parents. You have to be this. You're kind of the butt of a lot of complaints as well, and also you've got the people above you telling you to do this and do that, and everyone asks you to do something all the time. There's always something that I know teachers are always being said. Oh, could you watch the chess club? Could you do this thing? Could you do this thing? Like, it's like constant favors and extra work, because it just keeps getting piled onto you. Someone has a fun idea that then turns into a commitment. And I think it does grind you down.
It's a shame because
you end up with people leaving, and then the only people you have left are incompetent people too.
Yeah, those are the ones that stay. It is always the incompetent ones. It's a shame because they're crying out for teachers. Over here, they're crying out for them. They just can't. Nobody wants to do it anymore.
Are they literally crying out?
They're crying
walking
out.
Around.
They're crying
Where
out.
Where are the teachers?
They are crying.
Is there a teacher?
Yeah.
Teach my children.
But there's a lack of teachers because it's Jersey's a funny one because it's expensive to live here. A lot of people will just go off to university and not come back. So they might go to university and train in teaching, but they'll never come back because it fucking costs a fortune to live here. And if you're not lucky enough to have some generational wealth or something, you're fucked. Like there's no way you're buying a house over here. There's no way you're living day to day without really just being, like a paycheck away from doom. So a lot of people just don't bother coming back. So
also if you were young, like if you were 21, would you really want to be on Jersey? Like probably not.
Yeah, if there was opportunities, but there's none. unless your mom and dad are like, really established. What are you going to do at 21 on Jersey? There's
in terms of fun and culture and stuff. You're going to want to go to the mainland.
You would want to travel for sure. I think it's an all right place to live. It's just so expensive, and when you're just at home chilling or going out with your friends and stuff, you don't really think about it much. Like it's a good place to come back to after you've been traveling, or you might go somewhere for a couple of months, even like traveling like a longer or whatever. But you can come back. But the thing is, like I said, it's the opportunities. It's there's not like a massive resource pool of people, and there's not a massive job market either. There's just lots of the industry is finance, right? Like it's all the offshore banks and everything are over here. So those are all the jobs. So if you don't want a career in finance, you're probably just going to leave as well, because it's everything else is impossible to get. And it's made worse by a lot of factors. But with teaching, I feel like if more people wanted to teach and the pay was better and the conditions were better, and you had more teachers with smaller classrooms and less teaching assistants, honestly, like I feel like teaching assistants are just the whole idea of teaching assistants. I never had a teaching assistant when I was a kid. Like we had one teacher for our class. And our class was like, maybe 30 people, but sometimes not.
Right.
But like at my kids' schools now, there's like 2-3 teaching assistants, but there's so much weird overlap between the teaching assistants and the actual teachers. And the teaching assistants are almost like saying that they're teachers, but they're not. They're not trained. They haven't gone to school to learn anything about teaching. They haven't done, you know what I mean? Like these are people that have they're glorified, like, lunch monitors or whatever, that have just been given more to do, but they're not getting paid anymore. But it's a bit of a problem when you have people, it'd be like at the hospital if the nurse was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm a doctor." It was like, "No, you're not a doctor." Though
it wasn't a nurse, just someone that helped out when the nurse was busy.
A lot of cool stuff or whatever, but you're still not the actual doctor. And I think like teaching assistants kind of. Not always. I don't want to shit on teaching assistants. It's not a job I would do, and to some extent, I think it is needed. But like, there's a lot of like weird politics involved, And then in the end, you're just looking at it, and you're like, why are there this school? Like they're constantly saying, "Oh, teachers don't get paid enough. There's not enough teachers or whatever." But there's like fucking 100 people on staff at this small school, and it feels like there's like 4 or 5 teaching assistants in every class.
So the teaching assistants are there because the schools have to take kids that previously would have been sent to like a special school.
Yeah, that's another big thing.
They have to take these kids with behavioral problems.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because the budget was cut to the point where these kids don't have a special school, or the places are super limited in those schools. I don't know the details.
Over here, the places are super limited. There is a school for kids that have special needs, and some kids really do need it. And I think those are the ones that are prioritized. They get to go to the school, but they just will not open another one. I don't know if it's because they can't staff it or it's just too much. Or
Almost
whatever,
certainly budget. But so the answer to the fact that, to be quite honest with you, from everything all the teachers I know and have spoken to, and all the teachers that have emailed me, and I know a lot of people who have been teachers or who are actively teachers or retired, and every single one of them says that the classes are getting less and less manageable, that the kids are an absolute nightmare to get them to stay calm, to stay seated, to focus on anything.
Yeah.
And it's getting very, very complicated. To do that alone with a class of 30 kids is
I think
very
we should just leave them to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think like maybe that's the way. Like we do. We just battle royale it out.
Well,
just like stick them all in a big like prison complex and see which ones.
I know you're joking.
Which ones learn?
I'm
maths.
sure, Flex, you've come across this as well, and I'm sure most parents have probably come across this, but. if in your kid's class, if there is somebody who does need a bit extra, is disruptive, or some people with like quite severe ADHD, for example. If they have an episode where something doesn't go their way or whatever, like my kids have had situations where this has happened, and the kid is trashing the classroom, like throwing chairs, breaking glass, everything. And the kids are just trained to slowly shuffle out of the classroom and stand in the hallway until it's done. But this happens like 2-3 times a day.
I know.
And you just think, what is going on here? Like,
I think, look, everyone is different and every situation is different. And at the end of the day, like, maybe it is healthier and better for everyone if these, people are brought into normal environments and taught with other kids. So other kids learn how to deal with people like them, because they are going to have to deal with strange people their whole life. You're going to have to deal with people these people grow up and they exist in the world and they walk among us, and they were awful children and awful teenagers and awful people, and learning to deal with them early on may and also normalizing them and trying to sort of get them to be normal members of society. It's like we're rehabilitating them in a school early.
I know, but I think they need way more than that, though. I think they need people who know how to deal with them and get them through.
It sounds like this one isn't being dealt with very well
with some structure.
I imagine,
but this isn't an isolated case, though. This is happening.
This is every
time.
School. Like some of the kids at these schools. Like there was this one kid in my youngest year, and he was absolutely out of control. And I'm sure that every single day that he came into school, the teachers were like, here we go again. I mean, he was hitting kids constantly, biting kids constantly. And I mean hard. When your kid comes home with a welt on them and you say, what happened? And they're like, oh, little Johnny today, he was having a bad day. I mean, are we preparing them to deal with different people, or are we preparing these kids to be victims? Because you're just saying, well, sorry, you just got to take it. Fuck off. I don't think these kids if the moment the kid gets violent, you've got to do something about it, rather than just say, well, hopefully they'll be better tomorrow. One of these kids chased the headmaster around with a massive stick and was like whacking him and stuff. And my kid said that when she saw the headmaster later, he was in tears because he was like, what am I meant to do? Like, he was just completely frustrated. So the idea that, maybe it's good to expose the kids to this, I don't agree with that at all. I think it's super unfair on these kids. They're like 8, 9, 10 years old, having to deal with these incredibly complex issues. And the government or whoever has just dumped these kids in these schools. It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
There's just nothing they can do. You can't.
We managed in the past.
You can't just.
I'm sure we had the money for a school where you could put these kids, where you had people who were trained in looking after them, and now they just dump them in the general population.
It feels like that. Yeah.
These kids don't get any better, and all the other kids get the shit kicked out of them. It's not.
Yeah, they suffer
fair.
for it because I think a lot of kids will just sit there and do whatever the teacher is teaching them. They'll just quietly sit there and go along with it, and it's fine. But some of the disruption, and we're not talking about like the class clown here. We're not talking about somebody who's just like doing fart noises in the back or whatever. We're talking like a major meltdown, like actually
none of us would have made it.
Quite threatening behavior and stuff. Yeah, and it's pretty bad. But I mean, both of my kids that have gone through school, there's been 1 or 2 in their years so far. It's no coincidence. And then you hear about it from other parents as well. Like they're in a completely different year in a completely different class, and there's always 1 or 2 of them that are just every day.
I think they're having to leave class. These. Well, again, each situation is different, and I think some of these special education places are terrible, and the conditions are terrible, and they just are awful for everyone involved. I think a lot of the time it sounds like the adults are not equipped or even know how to deal with these people in the best way, right? And I think tons of kids medicated, especially in America. Like it's a very thorny topic because you are dealing with a complex set of problems, and a lot of adults, I think, just assume they're a good kid and they're blind to the issues, and they think that they'll grow out of it, or
the thing is sorting this out. the thing that always gets me is that this is this is the biggest investment into the future, sorting this out. But nobody will ever look at it that way because it doesn't make a lot of money right now. But what use is it not failing like any of these kids? Somebody who has behavioral issues or has some special needs of some sort, and not being able to give them the best and help them. These are people that need to function as adults at some point, right? They're going to be out in the world, and if they're not sorted out, dealt with, given everything that they need at this early stage in life, they're going to be bigger problems later in life, right? They like for society, and it's going to cost a lot more to deal with them when they're not functioning as adults, right? Like there's already loads of adults that cost society so much fucking time and money, when a lot of this stuff could have been solved a long time ago if people actually just
a generation ago
looked at it as these people. These are going to be the people that are looking after everybody.
Bad kids, and the generation teaches, but it can be broken, and it is routinely. It's not guaranteed that bad people will breed more bad people.
But all of these kids are going to go on to become adults that do stuff. Like we're not. You're not going to be. I'm not going to be 75 years old and going to see my 95-year-old doctor. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to be 75 years old. I'm going to be seeing a doctor who's like 30, who is right now at school. You know what I mean? Like it makes total sense to put more investment into this and sort it out so that in the future things are better. But nobody's ever around for long enough to do it, and it always seems like it's such an aside. The focus is always just on like, how can we kill more babies in another country, like and plow millions into that, billions into that, rather than just sorting out these things that really need to be sorted out at home first.
It doesn't make headlines, does it?
It doesn't.
That's
no.
it.
It's sad.
Much better to do.
It's sad, and they're kids as well. Like for as annoying as it is when this is all happening or whatever, I feel bad for them. They're kids, like they're not having a great time, are they? Constantly being yelled at, pulled around, pulled out of class. Like, you know what I mean? There's got to be a better way to do this. But I guess it always just comes down to money and lack of money and everything that feeds into that as well. Not paying people properly to do these like specialist jobs, not giving them incentives to ever even train for these specialist jobs. Like the whole thing just feels like a bit of a mess, honestly. And that's just like some brief firsthand experience with it. You imagine how some of the teachers and principals and whatever feel about it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. I think kids do lack. It depends what age, but they definitely lack a certain awareness of, and I think kids are very selfish, and I think that can persist through into young adulthood if they're treated like, if they're spoiled, to be so used to having everything the way they want. You certainly see it with teenagers going to uni who can't look after themselves, can't cook anything. Are slobs. Like I mean, and I was the same, right? And I think a lot of us are the same. And I think that the history does repeat itself because we're doomed to, right? I've been watching the couple of these Turning Point documentaries on Netflix.
Turning Point. I watched the Vietnam War one. It's good. It's interesting.
Yeah, there's a good one about 9/11.
Wait.
I saw that one.
It's amazing how many parallels there are with like today. It's like
hold on.
60 years ago.
Hold on there.
Hold on. Are you talking about Turning Point as in the conservative?
No, it's a documentary Netflix documentary series, but they've got different ones. There's a 9/11 one. There's one about hunting Bin Laden, I think.
Okay.
There's a Vietnam
So when you
War
said
one.
I've been watching a lot of Turning Point videos, I guarantee you quite a few American listeners.
Sorry. On Netflix, there's a series of documentaries called Turning Point.
Basically, they're called that because that's when that sort of post-war aura of the good government toppled, and it's led to the government lying to the people and the lack of trust, and it's really led directly to where we are now. And you just see the idea of making decisions and political decisions about wars and things around election times and around, so many awful decisions that result in, the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people are entirely to feed the egos of politicians. And it's terrible, really.
It's wild, eh?
And it does feel like history just is repeating itself. And
it's all the same bad actors, though. It's the same people.
If you don't learn from the mistakes of the past, you're doomed to repeat.
It's the same people 30 years ago that were just spitting the same old lies and nonsense, and they're still around spitting the same old lies and nonsense.
God, this is a real depressing podcast. Sorry, sorry.
I think Chaka Khan sent us off on one. I don't think we recovered from it. I was expecting Flax to be like, man, I loved that Chaka Khan show. I was ready to through Flax's experience, enjoy Chaka Khan. I said was just disappointed.
There's a lot of people doing good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some news?
Yeah.
Is it uplifting?
From Loose News?
No. Give us the most depressing news. Wait. I've got a news article before we start.
I've got three real depressing.
Cool. Here's a quick Flax facts to give you up a little aperitif ahead of the Loose News main course. Is that there's this social what do you call it? Like a sort of social media inspired game called Run It Straight,
right?
Where you just have two players, one with a ball, the other one with that is technically the tackler, and they just run at each other as fast as possible. And a kid died in New Zealand of a serious head injury.
Oh my God.
Because, of course, this is the dumbest fucking thing that you can think of. So, yeah, don't do it.
It's chicken, basically, is what it is, right?
It's
like
just
two
stupid.
kids running.
I mean, at what point is the viral game going to be running at a brick wall as hard as you can? Like, what are you doing?
There's a lot of these ones where
it's always been this dumb. That is such a macho thing, though, isn't it? The rugby-style tackle game. You can imagine that. We're not losing anyone important with doing that, though, are we?
Jeez, so we'll just tell that kid's family. Your son was probably not going to make it. He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, so we run a mediocre podcast, and between us, we've decided no big loss here.
Yeah, no big.
So
we got a section called "Do I Give a Shit?" Turns out not so much.
Accounting company Deloitte
Toilette and douche.
Toilet.
Got him.
Fucking got him.
Take that, you big fancy knobs.
Yeah.
They have gotten into the idea of workplace wellness, where companies are trying to offset job stress with time, like time off for volunteering. Discounted gym memberships, free therapy, these kind of things, right? But this one is apparently some of the staff are being given $1,000 to spend on Lego and puzzles.
Wow.
Meant to empower and support their journey towards thriving mentally, physically, and living your purpose.
You know what would also help them thrive and live to their fullest and stuff? Just paying them a living wage would be
that'd be nice
too. I mean, I think people that work there probably do earn quite a bit anyway, but
so this $1,000 subsidy, I guess it's like a bonus, but basically they can also spend it on kitchen appliances like blenders and refrigerators, going to spas, personal portable cooling fans, and ergonomic or cooling pillows. So yeah, they can, or they could just buy one Millennium Lego Falcon.
Nice.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Really nice of them. They earned $67.2 billion in profit in 2024. So good for them. That must feel great.
Yeah, no shit. You work with money, you make money. Fucking hell. So in terrible news about awful things, Meta have an AI public feed, which is apparently a gold mine of accidental oversharing.
Right.
Okay. So a thread highlights the issue and shares some examples. Basically, there is confessions of affairs, medical questions, legal dilemmas.
What, this is people admitting this stuff? Like thinking that...
Yeah, all visible to anyone browsing the app's Discover tab.
Right, so people are speaking to AI and telling them personal things,
if you've ever shared anything personal with Meta's AI assistant, they are sharing it with other people.
Oh, no. Oh, shit.
And it's just like, this insane list of things that people have. It's like my, like your I don't know. It's just chat logs with AI basically that are awkward. Okay,
so this is all browsable now.
So someone asked them, "You're supposed to be my wingman. Where's my big booty future wife at?" Okay. And the Facebook AI replied, "You're on the hunt, huh? Well, I'm more of a help you find your style kind of wingman. What's your go-to for meeting people in Oak Grove or West Lynn?" And then he replies, "West Lynn, is that the Cougar City?" And then the AI app replies, "West Lynn's got a rep for having some older, more established conditions, but Cougar City, that's a new one. What's your deal breakers for finding a future wife?" And he says, "Are you trying to set me up with a cougar?" And do you know what I mean? And then he's like, "No cougar set up here. What are you looking for?" And he says, "Big booty and a nice rack." Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
hell yeah,
you think a lot of this can just be laughed off though by people. They just say, "Oh, I was just joking around with the AI." They're probably dead serious at the time as well when they're chatting to the AI, trying to get like advice and stuff. It's so funny. Oh my God.
So that is that's happening, and then Mattel, massive corporate toy overlord Mattel, have teamed up with OpenAI. This is like the fucking evil, like the heel team up for, ultimate bad guys, supervillains. Toymaker Mattel are looking to develop AI products. So Barbie, Hot Wheels, Polly Pockets are using AI to create experiences around their games. And I guess this just means, guys, we're using AI to do shit now, to make art, to replace stuff, to make fake games. Do you know what I mean? It's just the whole, it's basically the news is like, good, we're doing it. And we're trying to frame it we're trying to spin this in a nice way. But that's happening. And
Mattel only made 1.3 billion last year. Nowhere close to Toilette and Douche.
In the final bit of bad news, Amazon and Walmart are looking at teaming up to make their own crypto.
Oh, right.
for customers to use.
Get rid of us.
Checkout.
Get rid of us right now. Eliminate us. Bring the bombs.
So that is that's loose news.
Tell me.
Loose news.
Thank you so much, Lewis. Wow, that was great news. I've never felt so pissed off in my whole life.
I didn't compile those ones, but then it's all very very shitty,
very interesting.
It's hot. It's hard to be enthusiastic and upbeat when it's so fucking hot.
It is, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, sorry guys.
We live in a country, well, I mean, I live in a dependency of the country that you guys live in, that prides itself on complaining about the weather all the time. The weather is never perfect. It's impossible. And therefore the national pastime is to just complain about all weather. Even on a nice day, you will still hear people complaining about it's too hot.
I don't like this new stuff. I don't understand crypto and vapes and AI.
I had a great conversation with my mother-in-law the other day about AI because she said, "Do you think should I be scared of AI? Like, is it moving too fast? Like, what's going to happen?" I said, "I not really. Like, just." It'll whatever happens, it'll probably be pretty gradual and whatever. And then we were talking about TV becoming in houses, because she's old enough to remember being a child, not having a TV in the house. Nobody she knew had
we kept our television at the bottom of the garden.
Yeah, very much like that.
Next to the toilet.
But it was really interesting because when TVs became the norm in houses, so they were affordable enough for the average household to have a TV in them, she said immediately so many things changed because there used to be big family gatherings. Like on the weekend, they'd go out all together as a family. They'd go do all these things. They would stay over at people's houses overnight because they, had too much to drink and stuff. And all the kids and cousins and everything. And she said it was like, everybody just did stuff together all the time. And then the minute they got a TV, nobody ever talked to each other ever again. She said,
it's because TV fucking rules.
Everybody just sat indoors and just watched TV all the time.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Nobody went out anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong. People still go out. People still do all that stuff. But she said she noticed, like, especially like in her family, it was just like, no, done. Everybody was just like, you know, like on a Saturday, they would normally go out and stuff. And everybody would be like, nah, I'm just going to stay home and watch TV. This is like in the 50s. People are like that now, but it's been a long time.
Plans for the weekend? My plan is to watch television. That's a wonderful new invention.
In full glorious Technicolor.
I say, darling, shall we watch some television? Oh, let's. When it was just this new idea.
Apparently,
it was weird though that if you think about it, that a lot of the technology gets much more quickly into the hands of the average person now. It feels like than used to happen. Like televisions in your home was like, holy shit. And now
phones now are crazy.
When smartphones came out, pretty much everybody, like, they did these deals where you pay this small amount every month and lots more affordable for the average person. So they'd go out and get these smartphones, and now like everyone's glued to them.
Man, you can do so much on them though. It's basically just having like a really powerful computer in your hands all the time.
It's a mini laptop all the time.
It is. You can do everything that you would need to ever do on a laptop, you do on a phone easy.
Yeah. Anyway, look, lads, before our entire
Is somebody
audience,
being electrocuted in the background of one
No,
of you
it's
guys?
a reversing truck.
Oh, right.
There's a lot of it's reversing to electrocute this guy.
It's just a daily electrocution mobile.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? It's oh god, he's gonna hit that thing. Oh, he's fully gonna hit the wall. Oh my days, this lad he's not a good reverser. All right, he's gonna have to go and do a little extra bit of turning. There we go. He was just driving into a wall. All right, anyway, sorry, I realize that's completely... Look, here's a quick update. First of all, if you have anything to say about what we've spoken about in this episode, please do email me in. Love to read your emails. Keep them coming. If you're interested in the shopping lists, I've been putting them up on my Insta in batches of 10 with no commentary. Make of them what you will.
Shit, I found one the other day. I forgot to grab it.
You got it.
They are fascinating, those shopping lists. The funny thing about those shopping lists, P-Flax, is there's always something really weird on them.
Always, at least one thing where you're like, what the hell is
doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's like you know, Danger Dan. What does that mean?
Like, what is that?
I'd love to see a really specific one where somebody was like buying stuff, but they put the reason why they were buying it as well.
Oh, you see that sometimes.
Like the list is like peanut butter for my balls or something. You know, like that would be so funny.
So my favorite is the one it just says 1 fags, pork pie, 1 beer. That's it. That's the list.
Nice.
I mean, I know.
Yeah, it's
so
funny.
like it's like they've decided what they've planned their day out, and I respect that.
Man, I saw a guy in the store the other day buy 4 beers and 1 pack of blueberries, and he got up to the till, and the lady was like, "You know, you can get another pack of blueberries. It's like a 2 for 1 deal." And he was like, "No, thanks. I just want 1 pack." She's like, "No, but it's 2 for 1. Like you get 1 pack for free." And he's like, "No, thanks. I just want 1 pack." And like, because I think he was literally just going to the park to like drink 4 beers and eat some blueberries, but he didn't want 2 full things of blueberries.
Yeah, you want to lug around an extra pack of blueberries for no reason. But yeah, so this one, the one that people really find funny, and I like it, is that when they have the name of the shop at the top of the list, but you're writing the list to go to the shop. You don't need to then check the list. Where was I going again? Unless you're very elderly. I'm pretty sure when you set out to go to Aldi, you know you're going to Aldi. You don't need to write at the top of the list, Aldi. I just thought it was quite funny. And one of the things here is earthly sinus relief. What is that?
Awfully.
So, all right, I will say this, that my favorite thing to look for in all these lists is how many different ways you can spell broccoli. Turns out there's a lot of ways, and we all know what it is. Just put brock. That's what most people do. There's no A in broccoli. There's at least 1 double set of letters. Some people, this guy's put broccoli. I'm like, fair enough. Like, I don't fucking know either.
I think you're 100% right. I've seen broccoli misspelled.
It's so funny. It's just one of those words that people are like, I don't know how many C's or L's or whatever. I'm just going to put brock. or just bosh it down. I'll know what I mean. But yeah,
do you see a lot of people write espresso? Like
of course, all that kind of stuff.
Espresso pods.
But the funny thing for me is as well, there's clearly, you know, the way you've got certain terms in your family for certain foods that is like a shorthand, and you know what that is. When I was a kid, what we called those sort of flat chicken steaks that are breaded and then you oven cook them, we would call that favorite chicken. Because it was our favorite.
They're escalopes.
Oh, I see. It was your favorite
chicken. Yeah.
I get it.
We called it favorite chicken. And when my mum would write a list, she would write favorite chicken. So when you see these lists, it's in a way a little vision into the lives of those people. So when they put dog steak, that means something to someone. You know what I mean? They know what that means. So I really like that story element.
Dog steak.
Give me some dog steak and some broccoli.
We went through a brief phase where we usually just get Heinz ketchup, but we went through a brief phase where we were really into Daddy's ketchup. Oh. And one time we had a list and it said Daddy's sauce on it, which was a bit weird.
You should try all gold.
You just put ketchup.
Just put all gold. This the South African ketchup, Tomati Sauce, all gold. It is the best ketchup I've ever had. And you can, if you use it for cooking as well, it's incredible.
My boss at the grocery store used to call it catsup. Like
there's that Simpsons line.
Catsup.
There's that Simpsons line.
It used to drive me nuts. Like I didn't want to say anything to him because I think he would kill me with his bare hands.
Ketchup.
Catsup.
Ketchup. So yeah, it's if you find that scene, it is. I don't know what the difference is between them, but catsup is obviously what it used to be called.
Yeah, it's weird.
I wonder where the word comes from. It must be German, I would guess. It's simply an older, less common spelling of ketchup.
Right. There you go. I guess he was just an oldie worldy kind of guy. Yeah. I used to work with him. He used to call it catsup, and I'm not even joking. I used to work with a French Canadian man whose name was Jean-Guy, but we did not call him Jean-Guy Tupperware because he was dangerous and insane.
I would say, do you want to hear? Here's a recipe for you. James Mies, who was around in the 1771 to 1846. Was an American scientist, horticulturalist, and medical doctor. That's when people were just all of these things.
Yeah.
So the first known tomato ketchup recipe that he published in 1812. It has been around for longer than that, but this was the first published recipe. An early recipe for tomato catsup includes anchovies and insects.
Ew.
Okay.
No thanks.
The thing is, if you don't tell them, they fucking love it. Do you know what I mean? They go ham for it. Yeah. They're like, oh, fucking love that catsup.
Yeah, it's like Soylent Green. They're lapping it up.
If you can spin it as well, if you can come up with a way to say it, like, instead of insects, you say, land shrimp, and, instead of what was the other thing? Cow brain? What was it?
Cow brain.
I've forgotten already.
What is he saying?
What did you say? What did you say the other ingredient was that was disgusting?
Rat tongues.
Anchovies and insects.
Anchovies. Anchovies. Everyone eats anchovies, right?
Right.
Nobody does. It's something
who
I love.
Eats anchovies?
Hello, me. Love them. Love an anchovy.
All right, calm down.
Disgusting.
I love them. Who eats anchovies? Well, me.
I was always told that nobody liked them.
No.
They are gross.
They're not. They're amazing.
Ever had a kipper before?
Hell yeah, love kippers.
Fucking hell.
You're
Stinks
such
the house
a dad.
out, but they're really good. Cochineal. It's a little winged insect. It's a sessile parasite native to tropical and subtropical South America and North America.
What, and they put that in ketchup?
It's a colorant in food and lipstick. It's E120.
What it used to be used for everything, didn't
or natural
it?
red
all the
4.
sweets used to have
Get it from the bugs.
Oh my God.
Add some ground up bugs to your ketchup. It really
exactly. You don't market it as like anchovies and insects.
Oh, they're real ugly little red bastards. Ugh.
That's where they get the color from?
Yeah, look. Next time you eat something red, look, this is where it's come from. I've just put it in the Discord. These little red bugs.
They're like little berries.
Yeah, well, turns out people have been using them for a very long time. Maybe that's because they look like little berries. But if you dry them and crunch them up, you get some
what happens if they're left to live and reproduce naturally?
Well, then you get more.
No, but are they like a huge pest? Like, do they bite you?
I don't know. I don't know what a sessile parasite
climb up your dick hole.
Climb up your big dick hole. I've got a whole nest of little red bugs in my asshole.
All right, here's what a sessile parasite is. It's an organism that is permanently attached to a host and cannot move independently. Lots of marine organisms like bivalves, sponges, and corals are sessile and can be affected by parasitic conditions. So barnacles and shit, they just latch on. What are you going to do? Can't do anything about it.
What the fuck is a barnacle? You ever see the bottom of a boat hull just covered in barnacles? They're fucking weird.
They are weird animals, but, they're meant to be on rocks. If you put a boat in water, they're like, well, fucking live here. We don't know the difference.
There's,
I'm a barnacle.
They get to travel the world that way as well.
Yeah.
There's a sessile oak tree, which is a classic species of big oak tree. And
it's a good insult.
I know there's one called the fuck tree, which is in Hampstead Heath, where they fuck against it. Gay people fuck against the tree.
Right.
Fuck tree. It's a fuck tree. It's famous. It's been, here you go. Look, it's been established in a gay cruising area and is famous for its slender trunk. There you go.
You know what I'm going to do? Next time someone is being lazy, I'll refer to them as sessile. That is a good insult because they'll have to look it up.
God, those little bugs look gross. The little red bugs.
Sessile wastrel.
There's the fuck tree. Look, it's like.
Oh yeah, it looks like a chaise long.
Oh,
really.
Hampstead Heath. Yeah, fair.
It's more of a chaise long.
I did see on Reddit. Someone posted that they walked into the gents' toilets at One New Change, which is a sort of shopping area in central London, right near Bank, and it has restaurants and some high-end clothing and stuff. It's like a mini outdoor mall kind of thing. It's got multi-levels.
Sure.
This guy after work, he was there and he went to use the toilet on the top floor, and he walked in and there was just a bunch of lads in there. And they all sort of turned to look at him, and he was like, just went to urinate, and then they just got back to wanking each other off.
What, they just stopped to wash and piss, and then they got back to it?
No, they just stopped to make sure he wasn't like, going to be an asshole about it. And once he just clearly got on with his business, they were like, right, back to work, lads. Just wanking each other off or having sex in the toilets. Yeah.
Big time.
And he was like, it was quite shocking. And they'll do it and they'll look at him and think, oh, you want to join in? Because, more the merrier. In a way, it's very accepting.
It's very open.
Yeah, you just turn up. If you want
to have sex in a public toilet.
You want to lend a hand, you can.
I don't even want to shit in a public toilet, let alone
it's pretty...
experience pleasure in one. I mean, it's weird to me.
Yeah, it is. It is. But equally,
imagine having
reasons,
sex in a Gatwick airport toilet stall.
I
don't think I'd be even able to get hard. I think my dick would retreat back into my body. Like there would be a hole there. Like,
what about an airplane toilet? Like in an airplane toilet, you're in the plane. You're at 35,000 feet.
Yeah,
I don't feel.
I don't feel like they're pleasant to be in either. Really, I try to avoid them as much as possible. Airplane toilets.
When I'm on a plane, I feel like I'm pressurized in like in the cabin, and my sinuses are all painful. I'm all fucking dizzy and weird.
I can't even fully stand up in an airplane toilet. Like I have to crouch a bit. It's awkward.
Yeah, they're not comfy
to piss in one of those.
Also, getting into them sometimes. You have to like open that door that sort of cantilevers or whatever it is, accordions, and you've got to sort of sidle in there like this tiny cupboard. Because God forbid there's any space to breathe on those fucking planes.
Yeah.
Just fill it with seats.
And guaranteed there's somebody waiting outside to get in after you because they're quite busy. So anything that you do in there, any little smell or anything you leave in there is leaving a lasting impression on the next person coming in. And, like if you're sitting on the plane, the pressure and everything, I don't know about you guys, but like I'm full of farts. So if I get into the bathroom, I'm going for it. Like
a lot of the time I feel like I don't poop on a plane. I don't poop on the plane.
I've never pooped on a plane.
No, I go to the toilet thinking I'm going to poop, but it's just farts.
I don't think I'd be able to. I don't even think my brain and body would be able to work together to accomplish a poop on a plane. Like I hate it. They're both completely doing their own thing.
Maybe it's a pressure thing. If you lived on a plane for your entire life, would you ever poop? I don't think so. You'd land, it would all come out.
Depends on the plane. Like
it's
if you're
an
on
hour 20 into the podcast, that's why we're talking about poop.
Maybe a luxury private jet I would poop on, but I wouldn't poop on like Pan Am flight 125. from
Honey, I
from
booked our
Dusseldorf
holidays.
to New York.
We're going to Pan Am.
I would hold it in.
Pan Am flight. Oh man, they've been out of business for 40 years, I think. Pan Am.
Yeah, a long time, eh? I think it was I think Lockerbie kind of finished them off, right?
God, yeah, maybe. Lads, we've got to stop this. It's an hour and 20. You know what we should do? We should do what Ludwig did with his podcast, and we do 2 hours, and the second hour you got to fucking pay for. That's how you make the money.
Well, people didn't get their value out of the first hour.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I think
people would realize very
lost
quickly
listeners from the
this
first
was not
hour.
worth.
We had to make up for it a little bit.
Oh man.
Well,
yeah,
it is what it is. It happens.
Thank you, everyone. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Good to listen to you.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Yeah. See you next time. Bye.